Well, God gave us health, and that involves the body, the mind, the heart, and also the spiritual part. And in the world after sin, people started suffering a lot from all sorts of diseases of the body, diseases of the mind. And the original purpose that the Lord had for us to be active outdoors, to be very active, to eat a good diet, plant-based diet, all of that was changed with sin. People started suffering as a result of their life habits, but also the result of relationships that were strained under a lot of stress. And so a role of a lifestyle center is really to give an opportunity for people, Adventists, non-Adventists, to come back to experience, first of all, a relationship with the Creator, with God. Second, to be strengthened in their relationships. And thirdly, to be strengthened in their body. And that involves diet, exercise, sunlight exposure, but it also involves the relationships, the healing of relationships, especially with one another and with God. So it's a place where Adventists and non-Adventists, it doesn't matter who, atheists, agnostics, Muslims, Jews, they can come and spend a few days here, from 7 to 10 days, sometimes 15 days, and get back to real life. So many of them experience life for the first time here. Our experience here has been that, most people are seeking. They're seeking for meaning in life. They're seeking to know answers about the future, what happens after life. And they're not finding it in what they perceive to be traditional religion. So they're not finding it in the conventional churches. And I ask many times this question, what is the role of faith in the way you deal with illness? And most people say, well, I believe there's somebody, but I believe there's a higher power, but I don't understand many things. And so, but they are seeking. It's beautiful people who are seeking. And so these places allow us, Adventists, to mingle with them, to care for them, to connect, genuinely care for them. This is not a fishing rod or anything like that. No, it's really a connection. We need to be genuinely caring, and that we can only receive from God. This is not a hook. It's the love of God that needs to flow through our hearts to treat them physically with the best professional skills we have, and also to care for the soul, for the heart, for the emotions and the spiritual part. And we find that many people, they come out of this place knowing that there is a God who loves them. Maybe for the first time in their life, they've connected with this idea that God is not the person or the being they thought he was, but he's somebody personal that cares for them. We believe, because of the inspired writings of somebody very special in our church, Ellen White, that God wants to reach each person who lives in these villages and the cities around here and around the world. And the best way to reach people with a healing message, physically and spiritually, is through health, through healthcare. So we believe that outside every major city in the world, there should be a center like this, because there are people in need. And so we hope that this Congress will inspire people to believe in God's faithfulness, because he said that this should happen, and he will provide the means, the physical means, the human resources to do that. So we hope that this Congress, and by bringing the people here to see this project, which is the result of God's faithfulness. We didn't have any money to start this. And really, no money, no team, but it's here today because we believe that God was faithful and was going to do that which he said he would do. Well, it started with an idea. Somebody believed that in Portugal there should be a center like this. Elder Mario Brito was then the union president, and he basically sent us a Macedonian call, come and help us. We need a place like this. And he said there's no money. So we didn't have any money either, but we started praying. And we prayed for about a year to know if this was really God's will for us to come here. Marianne and I, my late wife, we wanted to be missionaries where there were no Adventists and were no doctors. And this was a different mission field because there were many Adventist doctors here and there were quite a few Adventists. So we prayed and we sensed that God was leading. And after that, it was just walking, trusting that God was leading. And so for the funds, for this property, we didn't know about the existence of this property. We didn't have money to buy it. And God was so kind in sending us here. A church member knew about this, and so we came here and visited. It belonged to the government, and so we negotiated some parameters of a sale and all of that. So, and all the time, God was leading and He was providing. And today we have this beautiful center. It's not completed yet, but with God's help, it's going to be completed, and it's going to be even a greater blessing. Well, first, I think you need to be convicted that this is God's will for your life. How do you do that? Well, you read and you pray, and you talk to other consecrated people, get the advice, talk to your church pastor, to your friends, talk to the church leaders. And even if it's going to be a self-supporting institution, work together with the church. The church is your family, and this is a place for healing for everyone. But work with your church family, pray earnestly, and be willing to put everything there on the altar and say, Lord, here am I, here is everything I have, and just use it, and God is going to take you. You cannot imagine the way He is going to lead you in, but He will lead you, and you will not want to go back to where you were before. So pray and talk to consecrated people about this matter.